Să sperăm. Să zicem. Ok, Ioana.
Okay, Andrei.
So, hello and welcome to this beautiful interview. My name is Andrei, and I'm interviewing today Ioana Babes. Can you introduce yourself, Ioana, and tell me a bit about yourself, what you're doing and what you're studying?
Yes, hi. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this interview. My name is Ioana Babes. I am 21 years old and I am an international student in the Netherlands. I'm studying creative business at HU in Utrecht.
Okay, and can you tell me a bit about your leadership and your leadership background in management positions or in the domain?
Yeah, of course. So, well, growing up, I always took up the position as a leader. I was even the, how do you call it, the class representative.
President.
The class, yeah, president or representative during high school, during middle school as well, actually. And yeah, it comes naturally to me to take up the decisions to influence people, do their jobs, see what they're good at, and give them their positions or their roles in the team. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay. What do you consider a well-managed team?
I feel like a well-managed team always comes from the leader, but from the participants as well, because I feel like you as a leader are responsible to see what people are good at, to put them in the positions that they're good at, to see their talents and make them feel seen and valuable and make them work towards the part they want to work and they feel most comfortable to work. Of course, the get out of the box idea is also important because you cannot stay in the same place, because staying in the same place you won't grow. But yeah, I'm trying to do that always because I have this thing with personality types, and that's what I use to work on, to work in teams. So I use the DISC personality model. Each letter of the acronym stands for a personality type, and usually it's used in management. It's a management tool that's used in workplaces to put people in their positions. And when I see, based on a few personality traits, what personality type people are, then I put them into the respective position.
Okay, that's a lot of info. So if I got it right, people fit into different types of people, slots, so to say, and then you put them in their own little boxes and let them do their own thing, right?
Yeah, for
Where they
instance,
excel at.
yeah, sort of. For instance, there's the C personality type, which is really detail oriented, and they are really good in research or tasks that are really, really, really focused on details. The I personality type is really good in keeping up the good spirit of the team, being creative. So I give them those kind of roles. Then there's the C, which is the more centered and sensitive part of like the person, and they are there in the team to keep the balance and to look for the people. And there's the D, which is direct, goal oriented, and that's usually the leader.
Okay. So when you have tasks, I guess you kind of give them out to people, right? How do you pick exactly? I mean, you just told me some people are better for some things than others, but for example, if a person has to do a task they don't necessarily agree with or resonate with, how do you go about that situation then?
Well, first, we have a group get around. We make a list of the tasks, and firstly, I ask who wants to do what, because I want people to feel a sense of freedom that they choose their own tasks. And then when I see that people don't take the initiative or something, then I ask them politely, like, oh, maybe you want to do that, or maybe you want to do that. And then we have a discussion and see who wants to do what. And I make sure that everybody feels safe in the team and they do what they want to do and they don't feel obligated to do anything.
And I guess this also ensures a sense of agency and ownership in a project
Yeah.
for the employees. It gives them a feeling that they aren't necessarily like told what to do, but they can choose also.
Exactly. Like you don't have to do this, but you choose what you want to do and you do it right.
Okay. What does effective communication within a team consist of, for you at least?
Well, I feel like it's really important to set sort of a list of rules or some guidelines from the beginning. Like
Mhm.
be on time, do your job, whatever. Set some rules, some guidelines, and keep the communication going. Like have a group chat where we text each other or talk to each other. Like, oh, I'm giving you a heads up on what I'm doing. You're giving me a heads up on what you're doing, and so on and so forth. So keep on the communication going. And from my side, I always ask a lot of questions. Do you feel okay with doing this task? How is it? Hey, how are you? Are you okay? Are you able to finish it? Or kind of like that.
Okay. So always checking up and keeping tabs on people, kind of
Exactly.
like in a very big brother kind of way.
Yeah, sort of big sister kind of way, but also like a friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So checking in on people, seeing if they do okay, and then offering help.
yeah,
Um, would you make people work together if it would lead out to if it would lead to a better outcome in the context that they'd rather work alone?
yeah. Of course, because for me, I'm both people and goals oriented. So if I see the big picture that in the future the goal would be better completed together as a team, of course I would try my best to keep people together so we can work together as a team. For instance, I can also give you a concrete example. We have this team and we have this course called branding strategy right now, and we work together. We're 4 people in a group, and our teacher, well, she's not the best in giving feedback and everything. She's never satisfied with whatever we're doing. And at this point,
Feels like home, yeah.
yeah,
I know the feeling.
and at this point, our motivation levels are kind of low. But I keep reminding them, like, okay, our goal is to pass this course. Our goal is to finalize everything. Our goal is to give our best. So let's just do whatever we have to do, get it over with, and then we can celebrate, go out for drinks and celebrate that we're done with it.
So there's also a reward at the end of like the
Yeah,
trouble, so to say.
yeah. Well, it should be even like after the trouble period, but also to celebrate the fact that we work together, to celebrate the good moments and the bad moments. Why not? And yeah, I feel like a sort of reward is necessary.
Okay. I guess a big part of being a manager and directing people is also respect.
Mm.
What is respect to you in a professional context when it comes to management and leadership?
Well, I feel like I first have to give respect in order to get respect back.
Mm-hmm.
If me personally, I come up to you and I treat you with respect, I respect your values, I respect you as a person, I respect your work ethics and everything, then I feel like you would naturally come to me and give me the same. If not, then maybe that's a character trait. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, and then I'll come up to you and ask, like, hey, did I do something wrong? But there are some sort of people that their character traits don't allow other people to, like, they don't want to respect other people. So
Mm.
I try to keep some distance from those type of people. But yeah, that's it's usually starts with me. I want to respect you, and then you'll probably respect me back. I go with that premise.
Okay, but then respect is also discipline, and taking like a step back from this in the case that of course there's like disrespect going in a group, not necessarily to management but also between people.
Oh, yeah.
How would you approach mediating such a situation?
I will go directly to them. I would sit them at a table or have a talk with them, have an honest chat. A bit like, because I feel like everything goes back to communication as well. If we're honest with each other, we communicate, we hold ourselves accountable. Like, let's say, I don't know, somebody feels disrespected because the other person didn't show up at the meeting and didn't announce at all, nothing. Then I would go up to them and see, like, discuss the problem. Let's see what was going on and see how we can fix it together as a team.
Okay. What about undervalued or employees that feel either undervalued or ignored? How would you approach them? Because they are, you value them, you try to express as much as possible, but then when their expectations of value don't meet your expectations of, I mean, the amount of credits you give to them,
Mm-hmm.
how do you balance out the levels?
Well, again, I would go and talk out to them first, ask if what I'm doing is wrong, or how is um do they feel seen and valued in their minds, so I can meet their expectation. Of course, if they would have some unreasonable things, unreasonable requests, I won't go through hell and back just to make them feel
Hmm.
better, because we have to keep it professional.
So sorry.
No problem. But sometimes it also people don't know how to separate personal life from professional life. So if there's something that's going on with them, I would also try to go to them as a friend professionally. It's like sort of keeping it balanced, because if they don't want me to step in, then I will not. But I will go to them and ask them, like, is your personal life okay? Do you want to talk about it? And if not, then I'll keep my distance. If yes, then I would talk with them, because they feel seen. They feel like there's something that they feel heard, and that, yeah, I care beyond working together. We are more than that. We are a team. We are friends, and we have to do it right.
So, to a certain extent, you also believe that the issues that people have in their personal life metastasize into professional life,
Yeah.
and if there's a lack of attention in personal life, that could also factor into the professional life. A
Yeah,
craving for it.
in some cases, yes. So I would ask them first and see what's going on. What, like, communication. It's always going back to communication.
Okay. What about how do you balance the needs of staff and the needs of the organization? Because that I always struggle with personally. You have to reach certain goals, but sometimes sacrifices have to be made with staff to attain those goals. But at the same time, staff is the thing that's running the whole show. So where is the break-even point?
Mm, well, that's a really good question. I don't know. Can you give me a more concrete example so I know exactly what you're referring to?
Mm, Imagining, for example, you have a target earnings for the quarter. In the context that you want to preserve staff quality and happiness and satisfaction and whatever, you don't drive them to work as hard or as many hours as it would be necessary to reach those company imposed goals.
Mhm.
Not reaching them might attract sanctions on the team or on the department or such and such that would in the end also lead to deterioration of the staff status, so to say.
Mhm.
So then how would you balance yourself? Would you push your staff just to meet the quotas and sabotaging their status or their
Mhm.
quality, or would you favor the organization just for the sake of the targets?
Well, I never encountered this kind of situation, but what I imagine I would do, I would try to see how important it is to meet those goals as an organization. Sit the staff down, have a meeting, explain to them this is our goals, this is what motivates us, whatever, all the motivational speech, and me being there for them, together with them, we can work this and everything. But if I see that they physically or mentally cannot do it, then they're not robots. I'm not gonna push them and just for us to make, yeah, it's important to make money, of course, otherwise the organization won't survive. But I won't be a monster and say, yeah, do everything humanly possible just for us to complete those tasks and those goals and everything, because I feel like if you want to keep a company or a team going, you have to think about the people. It's always about the people. You work with people, for people. So if they're not satisfied, if they're not okay, then maybe there's something that needs to be fixed organizational, and not by the like push the people so hard that they cannot do it anymore. Because I don't want to reject them. I don't want to make them leave the organization if they feel like, okay, this is too much for us. Maybe it actually is too much and we have to lower the bar down a bit. I think this is just hypothetical because I've never been in this situation.
Okay, so you do believe staff is the most important,
Yeah, because
and
because people make the organization. You work with people and for people. So if they're not okay, then there's something that needs to be changed. Me personally, I believe so.
staff first place, and then targets second, and then maybe talk with management to see exactly why those are exactly the targets and
Yeah,
what are about bringing them down a bit or about changing them to make it a bit more possible or
Yeah.
shifting deadlines. Okay,
for sure.
so you value employees and you protect employees before throwing them. I mean,
Yeah.
rather than throwing them under the bus for the sake of earnings.
Yeah.
Okay. That's nice to hear. Yeah, but there's still nice humans around.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe a bit a question regarding a bit the quality of work and yeah. So how do you demonstrate accountability and how do you create it in your team?
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, again, we have deadlines, we have to meet them, and maybe you're a small part of the project.
Mm-hmm.
You have something small to do, but very important. How do you ensure that those people know that the project stays because their small part isn't done? And how do you ensure that they create something that is actually valuable to the project and not just some AI?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like having a lot of scheduled calls or meetings where we divide our tasks, see who has to do what, and keep each other accountable are really important. But what I started doing from like a few months ago, there's a lot of tools, for instance, Slack or Notion, like those kind of platforms where you can divide your tasks, see who's accountable for what, what's the deadline. And I feel like this keeps us as a team organized in a way.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's a mix of using the right tools with having the right communication in order to keep each other accountable. Because yeah, on the maybe you have something going on in your personal life and you forget to text me like, oh, I forgot to do this, I don't have time, whatever. But then I can see in the Notion app or in the Slack app that, oh, this task is not completed yet. I call you, hey, whatever, whatever. Oh yeah, I did something wrong or whatever. Can you help me with completing a task? Yeah, of course, I will help you. And yeah, I feel like it's a mix of having the right communication with the right tools.
I personally believe in leading by example, and by that I mean, of course, if you want somebody that's your employee to do something in a certain way, you should do it first in that way.
Mm,
Personally, I struggle to communicate this accountability to people because from a managerial position, you don't necessarily have a lot of tasks that you're working on. You're
yeah,
more delegating to other people, and then most of the times I feel that the people that I delegate tasks to are looking up to me and they're like, "Oh, but what are you doing? Why should
yeah.
I do my part? And why should I try so hard for this when you're just sitting over there and telling me what I did right, what I did wrong, and what I need to redo?"
Mm-hmm.
Do you have some advice in this regard, or do you have some pointers maybe I could connect?
Use, yeah. Well, the thing you said with leading by example is a really powerful thing, and I also believe in that. And of course, you won't have to do their tasks, you are delegating them and everything, but you can always assure them that, okay, the tasks are divided, I'm here to help you no matter what. If you don't understand nothing, come to me with questions, I will try to stand by your side and help you through it, and it will be fine, we're here together. So I feel like, yeah, you don't do their task, but you can go and show them like, this is how I would do it, but you have total freedom to, you know personalize it whatever you want.
Okay. After projects are usually done, their recognition is given to people. Of
Mhm.
course, you tell your team that they did a good job. How do you make it meaningful? And maybe if you have some ideas for some, um, yeah, rewards that would actually mean something to a team.
Mm. Well, first, going on to them and congratulating them with concrete examples. You did this right. I really valued the way you were doing that, and so on and so forth. Because they also make a connection in their mind with what they actually did, and they feel valued, they feel seen, they feel like you paid attention to what they were actually doing. So, telling them that you are proud of them and the results that they brought to the team were really good with concrete examples of what they did, I feel like that's really valuable. Um, yeah. Are we talking here with rewards in, I don't know, company level, university level, or
Mm, maybe let's set ourselves in like a company scenario. Of course, you just finished the project, team did really well, and you want to reward them somehow.
well, I feel like there's different type of rewards. You could reward the whole team with let's go. for a drink, or let's go have a team building or whatever, something on the company's money to celebrate. Or you can give them bonuses like, oh, you have a 20% bonus because the task were completed right, whatever,
Mhm.
those kind of stuff. But also going to them personally and congratulate them, it's really, really important because it adds on the personal like feel, and they feel valued and seen as people as well, not just as employees.
Do you have any maybe non-cash approaches to this? I
Mm,
mean, yes, of course, the personal congratulation. I think personally that would be one of the non-cash ways that would go the furthest for me, because there's one thing, sitting with somebody and they're actually telling you, I
mm.
really appreciate that and this and this. But maybe other ones, I don't know, if anything comes to mind, of course, not
Well,
necessarily.
this might be a silly idea, but some sort of unofficial diploma, so they have a tangible thing to look at and see, like, oh, best, I don't know, researcher of our team or something like that. And also maybe writing on that diploma the milestones that they completed and you congratulating them, so they have something to remember the project by. I don't know, something like.
So a gesture of gratitude.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. hmm Leading into the end of the interview, a couple more questions that I haven't really gotten to. How do you manage conflicting personalities in teams?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I feel like you have to own up to the fact that you don't work always with people that you like. So, yeah, if you're not professional in the way that, oh, I don't want to work with XYZ because I don't like them, then that's really bothering the whole company, I guess. So, yeah, I would again go back to communication, talk with them, and make them see the final goal as motivation and not getting blocked by the person they're working with instead of working towards our final goal. Like, okay, guys, I know you don't like each other, you hate each other, it's the worst thing possible to work together, I know, but we have this final goal to achieve. Let's move on past our personal lives, our things that we hate about each other, and find a focus that keeps us together as a team. And also, there's another thing that I learned, that there's always, always, always a 10% that you can find that you would like about a person. Maybe I don't like you personally, but I like your work ethics. I like the way you structure things. I like the way that you're responsible when it comes to team efforts. So I will focus on that 10%, and maybe that will grow on me. And I would try to remind them that. And yeah, maybe that would be a solution to this.
Okay, that's a very nice angle. But if things really don't work out, at what point would you consider uh, disciplinary actions or sanctions, or genuinely like telling people off, firing, or transferring, or whatever?
When I feel like it's affecting the whole process of the project, the whole company, when I feel like one person is being affected and the other one enjoys that the other
Mm.
person is affected, I feel like that's the part where I would draw the line and say, okay, guys, this is not okay. Let's change something about the way we're working because it's not fine.
So basically, when the project is put at risk,
Yeah, exactly.
and then which person would receive the
The sanction.
sanctions? The person that is affected, or the one that enjoys the action?
Mm,
How that the other person is being affected?
well, it depends on the situation, of course, but I would sit them down, listen to both sides of the story, and then make a decision. Because I feel like there's always both of them guilty. There's not, you are
Mm.
completely guilty and you're not guilty at all. There's always two sides of the story. So yeah, I think it depends on the situation.
Okay. Okay. How do you identify maybe no? How do you differentiate between a performance problem and a mismatch in team dynamics or responsibilities?
Ooh, that's a good one. So how do I differentiate between mismatching personalities and
Team
oh,
dynamics or a performance problem with a person? When do you know it's them not putting out good enough work, they can't work with the team, or they don't necessarily or can't own up to their responsibilities? Because these are basically the three main factors that cause
yeah.
problems in projects for people. How do you identify these the cause of the issues?
Well, I feel like a bit of time needs to go by in order to see these kind of problems. For instance, we have a project going on for 6 months, and we have I don't know, the 1 month free trial period, let's say, where we decide whether our team dynamics is good, whether we are all responsible, whether we're all keeping each other accountable for our results and everything. And maybe, yeah, this is all hypothetical, but maybe after this 1 month free trial period stops, we have a get together and see, okay, let's see the results, who contributed to what. And yeah, having a talk. I'm always going back to communication because I value this the most, and ask everybody for feedback. Okay, how do you feel working in this team? Do you feel like you can own up to the responsibilities you have? Do you feel like it's too much? And so on and so forth. And hearing everybody's side and everybody's perspective on the way we are working, I think this can be a moment where where we find out what's the problem within our team. Is it the fact that you have too much on your plate and you cannot own up to the responsibilities you have in the team? Is it because we as a whole group don't work together and we have to redefine our goals, rethink our structure of the team, and so on and so forth? So I feel like a period of time, like a free trial period, if you want to call it like that, would be necessary in order to find these problems and, yeah, see what we can resolve.
So time, observation, and
And feedback.
discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What are the mistakes that you see new managers or attempting managers? Um, what are the mistakes that they make most often? The new people that are new to the management thing.
First thing that came into my mind is enjoying too much the power that they've been given.
Mm.
And yeah, don't they don't know how to differentiate themselves from, yeah, okay, I was one of you in the beginning and I know what you're going through. Now I got promoted or I came as a manager here and I enjoy the power too much, and I'm power hungry and money hungry and I don't care about the people anymore. I feel like that's a really big one. Or also um, differentiating people and giving some people more privileges and treating them differently instead of treating the whole team the same way.
Mm. Just because you brought the subject up, um, how do you ensure that you are how do you call it objective with everybody and you don't have your favorite workers or things like that? Because I mean, if you are gonna be a manager, personally, I think that at some point you're gonna have your favorites.
Yeah.
But how do you ensure that you treat everybody equally, even though you have your favorites?
I feel like asking constantly for feedback and reassurance is a really big one here because, yeah, talking to people, asking them, like, do you feel like this dividing of the task makes sense to everybody? Do you feel like it's equitable? Do you feel like it's right? Do you feel like whatever? But yeah, asking people for feedback on like feedback on me as a manager is really really important, and being open to whatever they're saying, because you might be not doing something right and you have to accept that and you have to acknowledge that you as a manager make mistakes as well. And yeah, seeing what people think about you and how they feel about the way you're treating them is really 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 important.
Okay. And finishing the interview off, two last questions. How do you further develop your own leadership skills?
Ooh, Well, I put myself into different contexts where in the leading position, and again, asking for feedback, making sure that it makes sense. I also read a lot of books in that kind of area, follow a lot of people and that lead by example, and I have something to learn from them. This sort of stuff.
So always trying out new situations, always trying to gain more knowledge by reading something new, by some repeated author or somebody that's been known to pick
Exactly.
this. Okay. And now for the final question of the interview. If you had to boil everything down, you knew about leadership down to one sentence, what would it be?
Ooh, I like this question. That's a good one. Let me think of a good sentence because I really want to incorporate everything into one.
It doesn't have to be a sentence. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in the broad spectrum of everything.
It would be like something along the line, lead by example, communication is key. You work with people, for people, so make them feel seen, valued, and keep yourself grounded. I feel like those are the main aspects of it. And communication is key. I don't know if I mentioned that already.
Well, thank you very much, Joanna, for today. This has been a wonderful interview. I'd like to thank you very much for your participation and wish you a very nice day.
Thank you, of course, and thank you again for having me.
Thank you, my pleasure. Mulțumesc!
Te pup.
Te pup.
Sper că a fost ok și că te
A fost excelent, a fost excelent. Nu o să uite nimeni la asta, dar și dacă se mă uita o să fie mândri, o să fie...
Mă bucur, sper
Cine
că...
este această fată minunată? Ce multe știi despre management?
Angajați-mă!
Angajați-mă! Da, angați poziții!
Pe bune, că nu mai pot să stau în Horeca. Angajați-mă! Da. Mai ai multe deadline-uri și de astea sau cum ești?
Da, mai am. Stai că am aici pătrâna lângă calculator fișa mea.
Wow! Ce organized!
Da, mi-a făcut LinkedIn-ul ăsta, mă trebuia să mi-l fac, l-am făcut.
Bine, dăm connect.
Interview Iona cu Team Management Techniques.
Bun!
Study Research, asta altceva că l-am schimbat. Interview Ali or Matthijs on Interviewing Techniques, că da, investigative skills, trebuie să demonstrez că știu ce.
Dar să știi că chiar ai avut niște întrebări foarte bune, am vrut să zic, gen, chiar foarte, foarte mișto întrebările.
Tu. Am făcut cu AI-ul, că mi-era lene.
Normal, dar toată lumea le face cu AI-ul, doar că da, trebuie să știi și să le selectezi, că nu le iei chiar pe toate și așa mai departe, dar chiar mișto. Și să faci și promptul ca lumea ca să-ți dea interviu, așa că tot.
Ba, nu.
You still have some credits.
De chestia cu AI-ul nu-ți mâncru, sincer. Așa o apatie am de AI în ziua de astăzi, așa mi se pare că... Da. Nu știu, nu-mi place să lucrez cu și de fiecare dată când lucrez cu mă simt foarte dătiz, am o ducă bă, puteam să fac eu chestia asta.
Da, dar la urmă e un time saver și dacă știi să promptuiești bine și să selectezi totul bine, mi se pare că te ajută foarte mult.
Adică am făcut 2 question list-uri și tot research într-o zi pentru 2 atâta mai interviuri. Deci ajută.
Da.
M-am de făcut 10 reflexii.
Mamă, ce m-am săturat să fac reflection-uri, deci m-am săturat până peste cap să fac reflection-uri.
Mai trebuie să-mi scriu încă 80 de explicații pentru 80 de ore de carieră.
Wow!
Tu, am avut 140 de făcut și am ajuns la 180.
Crazy.
Am avut 2 evenimente care le făceam aici în Breda. Acum am rămas numai cu unul. Petrecere de techno Skype și am avut un eveniment de muzică live, o seară de open mic care l-am făcut, dar la ăsta l-am abandonat, că am efectiv pentru el.
Mișto, congratulations!
Și mai am încă 3 proiecte pentru universitate și trebuie să filmez un knowledge clip în pula mea și mai trebuie să fac...
Săracul!
Și mai am încă 3 rapoarte de scris.
Bun, ești bine. Dar când ai deadline-urile, săptămâna viitoare sau mai ai?
Pe 18 trebuie să-mi termin portofoliu. Am trimis astăzi un raport, mai trebuie să-l rescriu încă unul până pe 18 și mai trebuie să fac încă unul până săptămâna viitoare.
Deci ești bine și tu.
Da, nu,
forță, stresii.
Da, efectiv.
Nice.
Am fost ieri la lucru de la 7, m-am trezit ieri la 8, am fost la lucru seara până la 5, azi m-am trezit la 4 după masă, a zis că astăzi nu fac nimic, am zis că te sun pe tine, fac interviul ăsta și pe aceea mă duc să beau.
Foarte bine, că ai nevoie și de rest totuși.
Mâine iară trebuie să lucru de la 6 până la 5 dimineața.
Extraordinar. Și în septembrie ce faci? Ai internship-ul, exchange-ul sau cum?
Trebuie să văd, adică o să am un internship, nu știu unde, încă caut.
Still searching.
Da, still searching.
Actively looking for work.
Mi-a trimis 2 e-mail-uri cu unul din Berlin, mi-a răspuns, după aceea nu mi-a răspuns deloc, am zis că asta.
Super.
Și parcă vă presimt că într-o săptămână să fie de genul, hei, scuze că nu ți-am răspuns, ești angajat. O să fie de genul,
Super, mulțumesc. Keeping me on the edge, gen.
da. Deci, foarte fun. Și după aceea, din aprilie, o să fiu în Berlin cu Exchange Universitate.
Nice, nice, congratulations.
Ce mai este cu tine? Ce mai faci tu?
Ce să fac cu școala, cu munca din
Cum de ajungi jumătate septembrie în România?
în august? Păi trebuie să stau aici ca să lucrez, că trebuie să fac orele ca să iau banii de la Duo. Știi? Da. Și o să stau, așa mi-am plănuit, să stau pe 2 august, ceva de genul ăsta, vin acasă. Din septembrie până în ianuarie, februarie o să am minor-ul, care o să fie ceva pe branding.
Dacă tu ești pe 3 ani, nu pe 4.
Ba nu, sunt pe 4.
Pe 4 ești tu?
Da.
Îți faci minor-ul deja în anul 3?
Da, în anul 3 fac jumătate de an am minor, jumătate de an am internship și după aia în anul 4 tot anul am proiectul de licență. Așa funcționează la noi.
Ok. Noi, teoretic, în anul 3 suntem numai în internship 40 de săptămâni și în anul 4 avem jumătate de semestru pentru minor și încă un semestru. Nu, avem un semestru pentru minor și un semestru pentru teză.
Da, nu, la noi e altfel structurat, dar da. O fac minorul la anul, după aceea internship-ul și după aceea în 4 teza.
Hai să vrei să vii aici la BUAS. Unde îți faci până la urmă?
Am rămas aici la facultatea mea ca un minor super mișto în care lucrez cu companii reale și le faci strategii de marketing și de branding și de whatever și where's job opportunities I'm there. Și mi-a zis că a fost la un minor market organizat de facultatea noastră și mi-a zis o tipă care a făcut minorul pe care urmează eu să-l fac, că au făcut unii de la ea din clasă o strategie așa de bună pentru ethos, parcă, încât efectiv i-au chemat la ei în headquarters să pună strategia asta ongoing, că le-au plăcut foarte mult și am zis, da, perfect, aia vreau să fac.
Dibs, man.
Da.
Nu, m-am săturat de proiecte să mă pula.
Da,
am avut marketing și branding, am scris pentru primăria de la Eindhoven, le-am făcut un proiect de anul nou. Nu, că mă piși pe ei, sunt ultimii căcăie, pula mea, zgârciți.
Ce rău.
Mi-au comentat în pula mea că am avut în prezentare, am avut niște grafici de alea drăguțe cu animăluțe care aprindeau artificii în pula mea, că era de anul nou și bă, dar nu crezi că este neprofesional să ai așa de chestii în prezentare?
Da, sunt tipicar rău toți, da?
M-am dus la el la sediu cu șampanie fără alcool și am deschis-o în față ca anul.
Ce drăguț!
Ne bă, tac și nu crezi că e neprofesional să ai animăluțe chestii.
Shut the fuck up, put the fries in the back, efectiv.
După aceea am lucrat avem aici o sală de spectacole în oraș, la Mez.
Un cămin cultural, gen.
Nu e chiar, nu e chiar căminicul, nu e de asta de oraș, e privatizată.
Am înțeles.
Au concerte drastic. Mi-am făcut un plan de accesibilitate pentru persoane cu dizabilități.
Bun, mișto.
Acum lucrăm pentru Ahoy în Rotterdam, care e genul ăsta de spectacole de capacitate 27.000 de persoane.
Bă, dar nu știu că lucrați pentru foarte multe chestii gen reale.
Adică, da, efectiv, adică avem Q&A-uri, mergem în sediile, povestim că da, uite, așa este treaba, tac.
Nice.
Proiect grafice. Vezi acolo, uite tu pe geam, că e aici în fața curții tale. Deci acolo vrem să punem niște bariere.
Ce tare. Mi se pare foarte nice. Foarte bine, băi, mă bucur. Mă bucur că îți place și că lucrezi.
Tu, pic proiecte, după altul. Deci ăla de marketing și branding l-am picat de 3 ori.
Mamă, Andrei! Mamă!
Ăsta de accesibilitate iară l-am picat.
Super!
Acum la
Fighting with the receipts, așa?
Da, tu, deci efectiv era să nu primesc credit. Era să nu primesc 13 credite anul ăsta.
Wow!
Deci a trecut cu 5.5.
Așa o să trec eu cursurile S2. Deci blocul trecut am avut niște cursuri extraordinar de mișto și mi-a plăcut maxim. Am luat 9 la amândouă și mi-a plăcut maxim. Bă, dar blocul ăsta am un curs de sustenabilitate care...
O secundă. Stai că nu știu ce-am făcut. Zi ceva.
Alo?
Te aud! Perfect.
Așa, nu ziceam că anul ăsta blocul ăsta am avut un curs de sustenabilitate care, bă, a fost ok, dar...
Și eu, sincer, mă piși pe sustenabilitate.
Da, băi, deci e boring, rău de tot înțeleg, e important.
Da, mă piși, să ardă pădurile, mă doare în cur.
Efectiv, mă rog, și ăsta mai am o prezentare de populare săptămâna viitoare și sunt gata și cu el. Mamă, și am cursul ăsta de branding unde îmi vine să-mi smulg părul din cap, deci mă jur că profa noastră are borderline disorder sau o problemă de asta, că e atât de bipolară, este ceva groaznic, oribil. Deci, efectiv, am avut sesiuni de feedback în care ne zicea că nimic nu e bine, că să nu facem aia și după următoarea sesiune că de ce n-am făcut aia și tot felul de căcaturi de astea, de nimic, niciodată nu e mulțumită, e ceva oribil.
Te absolut înțeleg.
Abia aștept să termin. Și blocul trecut chiar mi-a plăcut foarte mult cursurile celelalte pe care le-am avut, deci extraordinar de mult.
E fucking oribil.
Da.
Cea mai parcă sunt colegii cu care trebuie să lucrezi în proiecte, să-mi bag pula, deci am dat de o trupa asta, bă, deci tu știi cum se simte când îți invalidează cineva proiectul pentru că jumătate dintre ele e plagiat de pe ChatGPT?
Wow, ce rău!
Da, și nu odată!
Wow, ce rău! Bine, eu, ce drept, am avut norocul cu echipări super mișto la fiecare proiect de grupă pe care l-am avut, deci nu pot să mă plâng.
Bă, și se țin ca lepra de mine, de 3 ori am avut șansă să scap de ei și m-am pus din adins în altă echipă. Și zice, cu ei, te vin după mine, la modul că Andrei, nu vrei să fim din noi împreună și la modul că...
Pick me, choose me, love me!
Și să mă pula.
Wow.
Ultimul proiect care l-am scris, paragraf cu paragraf, l-am luat și l-am băgat într-un de la de...
AI checker.
Da, de AI checker. Și m-am uitat acolo și am văzut 2 pagini. Copy-paste.
Bă, trebuie să fii, eu dă-o dracu de treabă, n-ai creierul tău să stai să le
Tu
refrăizuiești.
știi ce mi-a spus omul? Că da, că stai să vezi, că și la comunicare am trimis un proiect. Dar așa și mi l-a respins că plagiatura. Dar eu așa scriu, ăsta e stilul meu de scris.
Pută fries in the back, bro, nu e adevărat, shut the fuck up.
Efectiv, bullshit. Deci nici măcar să zică că stai, mi-a picat becul din lampă și eu pot să mă prelumina acum.
Nice. Nu ce-am și dracu tu cauzi acolo.
Mică sau ceva. Răspuiul fără.
Da.
Right.
Abia aștept să termin anul ăsta. Abia aștept să mai pot. Să vină vacanța de vară, că mor aici.
Da, tu, ce planuri ai la vară?
Păi, în principal o să lucrez.
Da, tocmai ai zis.
Da, am o excursie plănuită în Londra, dar e încă în discuția asta, să vedem exact când mergem. Și merg la concertul Kendrick și SZA aici în Olanda. În august s-ar putea să merg la Untold, dar încă nu i-am la bilete, deci mai aștept puțin. Cam așa și, mă rog, în august să fie acasă, una alta. Tu?
O să mă duc în România acum în sfârșitul lunii.
Asta
pe că nu știu exact ce fac cu internship-ul, că dacă îmi prind internship în Berlin, o să renunț apartamentul ăsta și o să mă mut de aceea. Facem mult în Berlin și în caut iară la anul când mă întorc sau, nu știu, poate vin aici la internship, dar oricum toate chestiile sunt foarte...
Da. Dar tu când ar trebui să începi internship, în septembrie sau în februarie?
În septembrie și chestia nașpa e că să-mi bag pula, ăștia de la Exchange de la mine au făcut un mare whoopsie daisy și eu știam că trebuie să mă duc în septembrie în Berlin pe Exchange.
Da.
Numai că trebuie să mă duc în Berlin pe Exchange în aprilie la vară. Știi?
Și acum trebuie să stai țintă pe internship-uri.
Da, exact. Și ok, eu caut, da. După
Bă, aplică
120
la
de mail-uri în Berlin.
Da, aplică la cât mai multe, că efectiv e groaznic cu internship, aplică la cât mai multe.
Dar știu, ți-am spus 120 de e-mail-uri am trimis numai în Berlin.
Ce bun, foarte bine.
N-ai cum, toată lumea. Că da, n-avem bani, n-avem loc, nu luăm în momentul acesta practicanți.
Da, vezi, dacă ți-ai făcut LinkedIn, stai cu ochii țintă pe LinkedIn și dă-ți notificări activate să-ți vină notificări la o grămadă, că sunt o grămadă de postări de internship-uri.
Chestia e că în domeniul meu
Nu se prea fac internship-uri sau ce?
Nu, adică nu se prea fac nici internship-uri și foarte puțin locuri în industrie în principiu, adică gen festivale mari, gen știi că e Pink Pop-ul, toate căcaturile și fac pe curse aici, gen ele toate sunt ținute de Megastar, tu știi cât de mare e compania aia? 20 de persoane și organizează 20 de festivaluri în Olanda.
Ce tare!
20 de persoane. Dar dacă vrei să lucrezi, îți dai seama că nu prea ai la mult. Știi?
Da.
20. Nu avem nevoie de mai mulți.
Da.
Da.
Bă,
No.
urez mare succes să-ți găsești ce trebuie.
Nu, bine. Ce să și zic? Aș putea să mă duc o să vin în România din iulie. Poate mă duc până în Irlanda, apoi ori mă mut înapoi aici și mi încep internship-ul, mă mut în Berlin și mi încep internship-ul.
Înțeles, deci tot până în august-septembrie.
Da, nu, probabil că o să fie septembrie cândva. Da, că la sfârșitul august mă duc cu Cosmi până în Grecia.
Faceți the boys trip again.
Da, numai că data asta vine și Anca.
Anca?
Nu, Anca, Ana.
Anca, eram, who the fuck is Anca?
O să vină altcineva, dar nu mai putut. Trebuia să mergem cu altă fată la început, după aceea nu am mai putut ea, trebuia să mergem cu un alt tip, a făcut altcine cu mașina, nu mai are bani să vină. Dar să mai eu cu Cosmi și cu asta.
Super. Well, have fun.
O să dau pe canapea și o să mă rog la Dumnezeu să nu se fută destul de tare să aud.
Mamă, I don't need those details. Believe me, I really don't need those details.
Da, nici eu nu vreau să aud, crede-mă.
Da, bă, foarte bine. Ce pot să zic?
Nu, bine, Iona.
Bine, te pup. Dacă mai ai nevoie de ceva, text. Sper să te
Trebuie să faci un interviu și despre cum se dau interviurile.
Nu, că despre asta nu sunt atât de bună. Pe managementul echipelor mă mai pricep, dar pe cum să faci interviuri nu mă prea descurc. I'm sorry.
Ești jurnalistă. Bine,
Da.
Ciao, ciao.
Bine, te pup, zi faină. Ceau.
Pa, pa.